Hello, and welcome to the Legendarium Green Team. I'm Jingalls90, and with me today are Kyptan,
Heyo.
Befuddled Panda,
Hello.
Spooke,
Hello.
and Stormrunner.
Hey, how's it going?
And today, on this glorious 4th of May, we are going to talk about not the quality Star Wars that's out right now with Andor Season 2. We're going to talk the first novel, I think.
First original.
First original novel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye by Alan Dean Foster. And boy, oh boy, is it going to be fun. I'm feeling good about this one, folks. Okay, I'm feeling really good.
Got us screaming about this book.
I think the best part is none of us went in with high expectations.
No, my expectations were pretty much met, and they were
Low.
fairly low.
Yeah, I think I had no expectations, and I'm glad I didn't. If you don't have expectations, you can never be disappointed, right? That's the that's a rule, I think. So, okay. So yeah, we will try to do a little bit of non-spoiler here, but I don't really know what we could even spoil. That would be too great at this point.
Maybe clarify, right? For those who have just never heard of this book, where even in the timeline is this set?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. So let's go over this was written in 1978, which means it was pretty much being written simultaneously with A New Hope. And it shows.
Oh, I did not know
um
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, this book is directly after A New Hope, and it is, for lack of a better term, a money grab. This was written in the 70s as a Splinter of a Mind's Eye, a Luke Skywalker adventure.
Mm.
This was supposed to be a very simple 70s pulp adventure book that just kind of came out.
It was written with a half expectation that there would be no more Star Wars books
That
or
New Hope
movies.
would fail miserably,
Yeah.
and that they had no money for the second movie, so they told him to write this book.
Which you would think it'd be a more high budget imaginative tale, but that's not what we got.
It is pretty contained,
It is very contained.
which is pretty common for the 70s.
Yeah, it's a 70s sci-fi adventure story. Like
Mhm.
whoever kept said the adventure in a Luke Skywalker adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love to know
Um,
who how this sold though, because
That's what I actually didn't get any metrics on that. I don't know. I'm sure it sold
Uh,
just fine with having it
allegedly,
hit.
it did not sell well.
Oh, okay. Never
Okay.
mind.
It probably
That
sold more with us buying our copies than it did at the time.
from the used
I
Like,
book
we
buy mine
store.
probably
in used
caused, like, a
books.
big spike. Oh, I bought mine as an ebook for $5.
I did the ebook, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wonder how many ebooks they sell per month in 2025.
At
Just
least
us.
2 this month.
Just us. Just two. Not even a full set of 5 people. Just two. So yeah. So there's Splinter of a Mind's Eye. It's with all that in context, I think everyone has kind of already given their impressions of it, but let's go ahead and just get into some quick talk on that without spoiling anything. Don't do it.
Mhm.
It's very
It had
serious. We got to
slightly
be
better
very
prose
serious.
than I expected.
Yeah.
Slightly.
It's not complete trash.
No,
Yes,
definitely
agreed.
not.
It's not total trash. It's
Yeah.
just mostly it's just mostly trash.
No, I think Alan Dean Foster is actually a pretty prolific author of the time, and I think
Yes.
you can kind of see that he knows what he's doing at the very least,
Yeah,
even if he doesn't have much to work with.
I mean, it's just very of its time.
And it's very much not really matching uh, the vibe of A New Hope, of any of the characters, of any of the level of threat or realism. Sorry, not realism, but believability.
Honestly,
Level of
as I was
threat
reading
works.
it, I thought I was reading like a Clone Wars single episode, like during the anthology seasons where they're just kind of bad.
Mm.
Yeah,
It,
and I think too, there's just like a lot of things that go into this plot that are very much not intending to expand on anything, right? It's this was their throwaway novel where they had some recognizable names, some brief encounters, and that's it. Like that's the book in a
Like
nutshell.
Darth Vader's on the cover, but I never once actually felt like Darth Vader, the menacing presence from episode 4, was ever in this book.
No.
I think it is a bit unfair to the book in that we reading it in 2025 has had so much Star Wars content and like influence, and we have seen the original movies, we've seen A New Hope, we've seen Empire Strikes Back, and just the visualization of those movies, that is not the same vibe as what we get from this book. And it's hard for me to try to read this book without any of that influence. It's just like almost impossible. So I just want to say like I don't think I could really give this book a fair chance if like I were reading it on its own, because there's just
Yeah,
too much in my
I think you're
brain.
being very generous.
Okay.
See, that context though of this being written basically simultaneously with New Hope is why I gave it 2 stars and not 1 star. I
Okay,
was
fair.
being forgiving.
Yeah, I'll say I'll be making plenty of jokes in the spoilers about certain things that, like, obviously there was just no way to work around
Yeah.
certain
I mean,
expectations.
the biggest thing is the characters. The mismatch of the characters we know and what we get in this book, that was very difficult to overlook.
yeah.
It
It's the biggest problem with it.
Yeah.
it felt like they weren't the characters. They were
They're
like,
they're kind of generic
yeah.
protagonists plopped into
Luke
a
should not speak like a graduate student.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, I do like the cover of this book, like
It's a
a
cool
fair bit.
cover.
I think
Beautiful
it's a
cover.
really good cover.
It
It's
evokes Empire Strikes Back.
it evokes a feeling that is not present in this book, but I like it.
It's a better cover than some of the later Star Wars covers.
Oh,
For
sure.
sure.
The one that's like Photoshop or like MS Paint.
Yeah.
It doesn't depict anything that happens in the book, but whatever.
Yeah, basically. I mean, kind of.
No.
I don't know which one you're looking at, but there is the scene that this looks like
I'm looking at a scene in like a forest
with Vader standing on a rock.
with Vader standing on a rock over a red glow.
Yeah, like maybe they're at the entrance of a temple or something.
I
That's
guess
what I got.
maybe, but
Yeah, that's the one I've
not
seen.
not at all how I pictured this.
No, no.
Not at all.
But I think it's an interpretation of it.
Is
Yeah.
the red dot supposed to be the Kyber crystal, maybe?
I think
Yes, it definitely
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Are
Yeah.
we in spoilers now?
We can get there. I think
Yeah.
we've done about as much as we can.
That's it. That's in the synopsis.
Yeah, it's the book's not as bad as you would think, but it's not. It's still bad.
It's so basic, and it does feel like an off-brand Flash Gordon at times.
Yeah, it absolutely
Well,
does. Yeah.
given the origin to Star Wars,
Okay. The quality aside, at least was it entertaining?
it'll be fun to discuss.
So I said this in the chat in our little DMs where I said I find this book entertaining in the same way you see a person get kicked in the balls. I was entertained, but I was still grimacing at it the
Yeah.
entire time I was reading it, just going, "Why
Okay.
am I looking at this?"
All right, there you go.
I will before I move into spoilers real quick. I just kind of had a weird epiphany, I think. Do you think the Darth Vader in this book is like the version that Alan Dean Foster saw if he maybe saw David Prowse speak?
Maybe.
Does that
Maybe.
ring true with anyone else? Okay. I
That
just
weird Scottish accent, that may explain
yeah,
some things.
yeah.
He seemed remarkably effete.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. He really did. And it was like this is not a voice I can get working in James Earl Jones's voice, but I can definitely get David
It
Prowse
felt like a
doing this.
robot chicken version of him.
It did.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
It really did.
so okay. With all that out of the way, I really, really sold it there for the non-spoiler folks. The more interesting stuff comes.
The
with
best
spoilers,
part of this
so.
book was knowing I was going to be talking about it with you folks.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes.
That's why I have a beer. I'm just having a good time.
I'm taking Truce Bakura over this for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still not a good book, but better than this.
I mean, that actually had character development, so
Yes. And it completes the we'll get there.
Okay. So, lightsabers, the Force, and questionable flirtations with incest. Must be a Star Wars book. After the Battle of Yavin 4, rebellion is rising, and Leia is on her way to recruit some new allies in the Circapoo system. Luke joins her along with R2D2 and C3PO. Things immediately go awry when Leia's ship loses power and starts to descend and crash land on the planet Mimban. On Mimban, Luke and Leia discover a hidden Empire mining operation run by Captain Supervisor Grammel, a man with no real value beyond he couldn't be Darth Vader. They also meet an old woman named Hala, who is sensitive in the Force and tells Luke and Leia about a legendary stone called the Kyber crystal. That's a Kyber, not Kyber, which was used on Mimban to grant magnificent healing power. As the adventure continues, Luke and Leia will meet two Wookiee wannabes, run from giant worms, and meet an indigenous species with whom Luke will do some pretty typical fight to prove worthy shenanigans. All of this fun will culminate in the arrival of Darth Vader, wicked and deadly duels between Vader, Luke, and Leia, all to be completed when Luke cuts Vader's arm off and Vader promptly yeets himself into a hole because word count was getting too long. And that's about it. Like I said, word count was running long.
oh my god, that was perfect.
That
You
was
know,
brilliant.
I got to give it to him for the first time in Star Wars of having somebody die by falling into a hole.
Oh,
Well, he didn't die.
he
Didn't
didn't die.
die.
But
Yeah,
he
neither
did go
did
out like a
Boba Fett,
chump.
but still, come on.
Yeah,
Neither did Luke at the end of Empire.
People complain about the long no in Revenge of the Sith as Vader being a chump. Like,
This is definitely the most chump Vader has ever been.
uh-huh.
When he just gets hit by blaster fire by Leia.
I had to read that scene multiple times to just make sure that I got it right, that Vader just fell.
Yeah.
I was like, did something grab him?
And once again, a character's leg gets stuck, but not harmed in any fashion.
Oh yes, yes. It was just enough to pin him, but not break it.
I
Yes.
did not have Vader v Leia on my bingo card for this.
No, and she uses a lightsaber too.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's great.
But she can't swim.
But she
Nope.
can't swim.
Also, I'm going to kill you, Darth Vader. A direct quote from Luke. Yoda rolling in his soon-to-be not yet existent grave.
So let's pull it back a little bit to the beginning of the book, because there's
There's a
probably
starfighter
some.
section, which I usually
There's a
love.
starfighter, yeah, but they don't do much in this starfighter.
Why didn't you
section.
like it, Kip?
Leia's in a Y-wing, and Y-wing is easily my least favorite of the
Yeah.
starfighters.
Agreed.
Fair,
Y wings are
fair.
boring.
And B, they make glide descent landings in a Y-wing and an X-wing into a forest. Both survive, no injuries.
Forest Swamp.
Forest swamp, yes.
Proto Dagobah, but
I think somebody did have like a head injury. Like there was blood, but mostly unharmed.
Yeah.
Did they do anything about it? I don't remember that.
Oh, and Leia was like, "No, my engine can't make it. And I must land on this engine that can't make it."
She just lost control, you know. But she was able to land it, even though she lost control.
Yeah. On a planet she didn't need to go to or want to go to.
Yeah.
And why does this all happen? Because there's like some weird electromagnetic pull from
That's
a
after they
mining
started descending.
situation. Was that
So
after? I thought that was the cause of the.
No, she's just in a bad starfighter.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes it
Also,
kind of worse.
the rebellion sent just the two of them.
Yes.
plus the bots, plus the droids.
Plus the droids. Right? I get that it's a secret mission, but like you could have sent like a third or fourth starfighter. Like that's
Also, The idea of R2D2 making it across this planet was hilarious.
Yeah.
This planet of mud and soft ground, and a little robot with tiny little wheels.
I know. I was trying to picture how that would work.
It wouldn't.
Timothy Zahn shows that in Air, I think.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like Luke would need to carry him backpack style.
Yeah.
he's a heavy robot. He's a
It'd be
big
heavy.
robot. They fit a full
Chunky.
person inside that robot in the movies.
Yeah. Warwick Davis.
Yeah.
I just R2D2 and C3PO are so clearly just here for the gimmick of having R2D2 and C3PO. Like it's amazing.
100%.
They often always are, but
Yeah, but like especially in this book
Archie
where
gets 2
think-
moments.
yeah, he gets to hack a sled of some kind. And then but C3PO, we have like 3 different species with 3 different languages mentioned in this book, and C3PO doesn't translate for a single one of them.
Yeah. Well, because he's not
Not
there.
once.
Because he's not there.
it's another Sith language situation for Rise of Skywalker.
Did he say he was a translator droid in New Hope?
I don't
He does.
human
Yeah.
cyborg relations?
Fluent in over 6 million forms of communication.
But it was that in New Hope, is my question. Because that's what we're
I
working
don't
with.
know.
I'm pretty sure.
Was that added later?
Don't Mandela affect me, Spook. I don't think. I'm pretty sure that's in there.
Was Jabba always a big fat slug?
That might be from Return of the Jedi.
See, this is why I said I want to go rewatch New Hope. One,
Yeah.
because it's a great movie, but two, because I want to know, like, given the context of that movie, how much of this makes kind of sense as a
sense.
follow-up. Some of
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's from Return of the Jedi.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
okay.
I'm having my world just turned upside down right now.
Good call, Spook. If that's
Hey,
the case, I,
everything that doesn't make sense, just ask, but was that in New Hope? Now, in the case of Vader's lightsaber, it was in New Hope, and it's blue now for some reason.
I did notice that.
another survival thing. So Luke just kind of opens his mouth to drink the definitely safe rainwater on an unknown planet where they have no idea if it will
It was the
poison them or.
70s. They didn't know about lead. It's okay.
They knew about
Yeah.
acid rain though.
There was a lot of eating and drinking of things that like might be human compatible, but we're just gonna chance it.
Questionable.
At least they address it later, I believe.
Like once.
Yeah.
I will say, kind of back to the start of the kind of intent of this book or how it portrays itself, which is Luke and Leia going to this other planet to find this group to join the rebellion that we never meet. I was kind of disappointed that we never got that because I'm like, that's kind of interesting. That's a little bit of politicking in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That seems like a promising kind of thing that they can do. And they ride off in the sunset at the end, and we have no idea what happens. But that did pull me in initially to the book.
Yeah.
Agreed. I was interested in seeing what would happen when Vader or the Empire showed up later with this rebel cell that we never meet.
I was kind of surprised that her idea was to ask a whole system to publicly declare for the rebellion.
Maybe it's as cannon fodder since they'll just attack them instead of Alderaan 2 or whatever.
Like, I never got the idea that there were full planets supporting the rebellion, and everything was underground and a secret resistance
Yeah, more
Yes.
factional.
because the Empire can just destroy your planet.
Yes.
Well, not anymore.
Death Star's gone.
Eh, not in one shot, but you know,
You can glass the surface. With
Yeah.
droids. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
speaking of blasting planets, I did appreciate that the author acknowledged that Leia has some trauma
Yep.
while she was captured by the Empire. Although the trauma that she does have is a little um uh, it was
Not the
okay.
best.
It was what?
Not the best.
It was not the best.
It was a
but
man riding a woman in the 70s.
well, yeah, but I mean, I think it was more about like the interrogation technique
Yeah.
that the Empire employed in her mind, and that, you know, um, is why she had the fear of Vader, but also the hatred of Vader and the governor.
Yeah, I thought that was a good point, like, because that's something the movies don't really touch on, and that was a not insignificant plot point in A New Hope. It's why they blow up Alderaan.
Well, I mean, they blow up Alderaan partially because the interrogation doesn't work.
Well, true, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
There's a consequence.
I don't know. I never got the impression from A New Hope that Leia was affected quite like that.
No, I mean, in the at least I don't remember in New Hope like the interrogation techniques were
Fade to black.
any. Yeah.
The droid came in and then we panned away.
Okay.
Yeah. And the droid itself is kind of just
Creepy.
weird. Like I don't
Yeah.
like it has needles on it.
Yeah.
Is there any interrogation scene in the movies other than in 7?
Well, there's
No.
Han gets
Yeah.
tortured
Oh, that's
in
true.
Empire
That
Strikes
is
Back.
true.
Yeah.
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 Han gets tortured. I don't think anything in Return. That one gets
No.
more
Nope.
kitty.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how we count Luke's hand getting cut off as exactly torture or not, but
Yeah. That's
No,
more like a
that's his
side
Skywalker
effect of
initiation.
combat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a genetic mutation.
it's in his inheritance.
Yeah. Okay, can we talk about the Luke and Leia?
Uh-huh.
Oh, one moment more. I want
Okay.
I have just a pet peeve that I don't think I'm probably the only one who cares about. The food concentrates that they keep talking about.
Yes.
No protein?
Yeah,
No
they're like,
protein.
we're going to need to find a source of protein. 'Cause it's not
Like,
in the
what have
food
you been eating?
concentrates.
We can last 7 days without this.
Yeah, we can last 7 days on this. Okay, so it's worse than a Cliff Bar?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
apparently.
Yeah. Rebellion isn't working with much, all right?
To me, it sounds like the energy gels that people like eat when they're going on marathons and stuff.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah.
actually.
But
Yeah.
But why would they use that as rations? I
why?
don't know.
Like that's to keep you going for like
Those
another
are literally
like
just sugar.
5 mile. Yes, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
straight up sugar. Like it's
That's an
to keep
immediate
you.
boost, not a
Yes.
prolonged. Yeah.
That's not a food concentrate.
No. It's a sugar concentrate.
And it's not even a sugar concentrate. It's a sugar like like dissolution. They're making
Right.
it less concentrated sugar.
So the love of Luke Skywalker's life, Leia Organa.
They're not siblings in this. It's okay.
They are not siblings in this, and we have to give the credit to that. We absolutely have to give the credit to that.
But it's still so
So
weird.
funny. Yeah, it's so weird.
So is it that in this version they're actually not siblings and it's not
Correct.
just that he
That
doesn't know?
hadn't been discovered.
No.
No one
No,
knew.
This
Okay.
is
No one.
Yeah.
Wait.
George Lucas probably didn't even know at this point either.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
that's kind of
With
my
how he
question.
writes.
That's kind of a question is like at this point did anybody who was putting this together know or like had it planned for them to be siblings, or it's really just the characters themselves didn't know?
Nobody
don't-
knew.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing's
Alan Dean
for
Foster
sure.
didn't know. And Alan Dean Foster also didn't know that Leia is supposed to be force sensitive just as much as Luke.
Yeah.
That was, yes, I did pick up on that. Okay, then my follow-up question is, at this point, does anybody know that Vader is Luke's father?
No, no
I
one knew.
know.
No.
Nope.
Okay, none of that either.
They didn't
No.
even know when they were filming Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
my understanding is that like George Lucas told them randomly one day after like a script rewrite.
Yeah.
That's where they were going.
And I think like when they
Wow.
before that when they had done the line reads, it was like a different line that was not "I am your
Yeah.
father."
Correct.
Okay.
I think it was like
got
I
it.
killed your father or something like that. It's something like that, and then they had the voice actor come back and re-record.
Okay. Okay. Feeling better now.
Yeah. It's like it's totally one of those things that with the context of the time and stuff in mind, but this is a creepy book to read if you don't have that. I mean, it's kind of creepy anyway. You got Luke
It's kind
like
of it's
watching Leia
kind of creepy,
sleep
weird.
and doing yeah,
Like
Commenting on her body and or
sl-
in his mind.
yeah.
he slaps her to quote keep her in to pretend to quote keep her in line.
Shout out to Leia just kicking him in the shins. It didn't end well, after,
Yeah, it
but
blew their cover.
but shouts
That
out.
scene was actually really annoying for me.
Them
I'm
playing in the
like,
mud.
yeah. Like
They're
you spent all
teenagers.
this time, like, we gotta be careful, we gotta be careful, we gotta go and like blend in, and then what? You just like make yourself conspicuous?
They're like 17 in this, I think.
They
It's
got him.
fine.
They got a mud wrestle and get caught by lascivious men who are like, "Oh, Leia in mud looks hot."
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a book written for boys in the 70s. We can keep going back to that for every bad thing.
Yeah.
Yep. There's an analogy later that Leia is a quote she falcon,
Oh
whatever
my god.
whatever that means.
I have never heard of a she falcon's
Either
qualities
ever.
apply.
I haven't either, but
And a steel kitten.
uh,
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah,
Yes, I
Whatever that
remember
means.
reading that. Yeah. I really had to turn off the critical parts of my brain as I read this. It
Yeah.
really bothered me.
oh, not to mention that I'm sure we'll talk about the crystal later, but her beauty restored is a line that is in the book.
Yes,
Is a direct line from the book.
yeah.
In
Ugh.
reference to Leia being healed and
and Leia definitely has no knowledge of how to rough herself up so she fits in with some minors.
No, she has to look regal all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the whole princess thing, like, the whole repetition of princess, princess, princess. I think
Yes,
that was part of it. Really rubbing it in what kind of person she is.
really downplaying her role in an underground rebellion and playing up her role as an international diplomat.
Right.
Right.
She's Padme in the Clone Wars TV shows,
Yep.
yes, yeah, actually.
basically.
Which, like, but to the story, why would you send this particular person if that's the only way she can act on an underground?
She's the main character.
Yes, what
Yeah,
Spook
right.
said.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we can keep
Never
coming
put your main
back to that.
character in a Y-wing.
And Carrie Fisher is more affordable than Harrison Ford, at that time.
Why isn't Han with them at this point? Like, haven't we?
They were worried Harrison Ford would be too expensive.
No, because Luke and Leia need to fall in love. That's
Yeah,
why.
that too.
Yeah.
But he didn't get, but he wasn't that big because this would have been, was this pre Indiana Jones?
He was a pretty big actor, I
Hey,
think.
Yes.
He was like the
Okay.
big actor.
Okay, never mind then. All right, never
And
mind.
George was worried that if New Hope would do poorly, that they wouldn't be able to afford Harrison Ford for a second movie. So he told them, write a story without Harrison Ford.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was 1981.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I knew that was a problem when they like that's why they did the Carbonite, but I didn't realize that was also with the New Hope.
Oh, okay, that makes sense
Interesting.
now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
keep running those gambles. Okay, so yeah, so we get to the town of Mimbon, which I thought I had seen this name before. The planet is totally different, but this is the planet that Chewie and Han meet in Solo.
Oh.
It's
Oh.
it's no longer a forest planet or a swamp planet because this was also the blueprint for Dagobah, or this Mimbon would eventually become Dagobah. But yeah, they turned it into a mud planet. Funny enough, and it's where Chewie and Han met.
Do you think it was just like a nod, like in Solo, just a nod to this
Yes.
book?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think yeah, I think it's kind of interesting from that perspective. This book, it's like seeing all the different things that kind of got lifted from it and repurposed in different ways.
Mm, okay.
Yep.
We're spending a lot of time obviously trashing it, but there are things that are interesting and are clearly carried forward.
Yeah, I mean the most obvious one being the Kyber crystal, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. In name only, but
yeah,
I
and not
think.
even spelled the same.
Yeah.
I do think this Kyber crystal, maybe Kypton, maybe I do think this Kyber crystal does have some play into the Kyber crystals that we know
I,
in canon.
in the EU Legends, even long before Disney wiped the Legends clean from canon, they wiped this one
Yeah.
from
Okay,
the
they did,
Legends
right?
canon
Okay.
law immediately after it was made.
I recall or I was looking into how like people felt about this book, and I was seeing comments of people going like people praising this book, which is crazy, and going, "This is the real canon. I can't believe Disney would like decanonize
Oh.
books like this." And in my mind, I'm like, there is no way this book is canon. So much in this book just fights against the extended universe canon.
Well, not even the extended universe, the original movies.
I think you found the incest fans.
Yeah, maybe,
Oh.
they were on Reddit, I think, so.
Or the anti-sibling characterization of the two characters. I don't know.
Panda, you're so nice.
Yeah, that's very, very generous. Yeah, very
They
generous.
watched episode 6 and then went back to rewatch episode 5 so they could see them kiss again.
Oh, well, okay. I'm not that deep into the fandom.
I think all fandoms have him.
That's fair.
Star Wars just happened to have one of the worst. Sorry, fandoms go generally.
I don't know, the Game of Thrones fans.
Oh my gosh. It is
They're
really
pretty bad.
hard where it's like we read Revenge of the Sith, which is, one of the highest quality ones. And then having this. And I also read Shards of Honor before I read this. So it was just like a whiplash.
That's why I read Shards of Honor after this.
Well, good job.
Cleared it from my
I'm
mind.
in the middle of the Devils right now and loving it, and so I'm like, woo, woo, woo.
I'm not loving Dragonsteel Prime, but
Oh.
I feel like that whiplash is going to be a theme as we continue into various parts of the EU, from highs to lows to maybe lower lows and higher highs.
I
don't know if there's
I don't
lower
know
than
if we're
this.
gonna get lower.
I don't
than
think.
this.
All right, lower lows, not than this, maybe. But
This book peaks my lowest low, which was Red Harvest. A
is that
terrible
the
book.
zombie? Is that the zombie one?
Yes,
It's one of the
it's
zombie
really
ones.
bad,
Yeah.
but it's really fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's practically Star Wars' version of Dead Snow. Like
Yeah.
it's very aware of the fact that it's a dumb zombie book.
It's schlocky. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not good, but
Okay. Okay.
But it has a cool cover of a zombie hand with
Yeah.
a red lightsaber. It's
it's
sick.
so dope.
Love it.
This book really made me remember what an amazing job the Young Jedi Knights series did in making YA Star Wars. That was still pretty good.
Pretty good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that come out compared to this? That had to be
Much
hot on
later.
heels.
Much
Was it really?
later. Yeah.
Okay.
That was in like the 2000s, I want to say.
But yeah, I mean that's part of this book's problem, right? Is it's having a hard time figuring out what level it wants to be at. Like it very much reads as I don't know. It reads more like young adult, or not even young adult, just like really simple structure. Like this thing happens and then this thing happens and it just moves that way, like very static.
Mhm.
If you read the summary on the back of the book, you get the book.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Young
there
Jedi
isn't
Knights
really
was
anything.
95 to 98.
Oh wow. So
Oh,
way
later than I
later.
thought. Okay. Yeah. Static is the right word. The book does just kind of plod along. Like I was bored when I was reading most of it. I was kind of watching the percentage marker on my Kindle go up.
I was so happy it was going up quickly. But then I was really surprised when it stopped at like 65%.
Yes. Yeah, it just
The book
just
knows. It knows that you want
Yeah,
other books.
yeah, it just kind of ends. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good point about it kind of plodding along. I think I do want to. Alan Dean Foster, I think, did the best that he could with what he was given. I don't know what as per a lot of the meta discussion. I don't know what instruction he was given about what type of story to write. But this might have been, I don't want to say the best he could have done, because it's probably not, but it, it does have a weird place, in that they didn't know where it was going, if it was going to go anywhere.
Let's just say I don't hold it like, I don't hold this book against the author, and I don't see
No.
this
Yeah,
as being
yeah,
representative of what this author's
Yeah.
work is like.
certainly
It's
not that.
same as how I felt with Revenge of the Sith.
Mhm.
I don't think I hold it against him either.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some really it's weird. The conversation that I'm kind of getting at is one that I usually feel like you hear more with movies and like producers and stuff. Like Captain Supervisor Grammel has like some potential. Like I
I
think he's
liked him.
He was one of the better characters. He was brand new. I didn't have any pre-existing notions about whether or not he should sound like he was a graduate student in anthropology.
He felt like a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like what we consider Star Wars. Like
Yeah,
I'm like
like
I could see him showing up.
yeah, and like a pretty menacing and sadistic one on a planet where
Yeah.
pretty much everyone's oppressed in some way, right?
Darth Vader being called Grand Moff Tarkin's henchman was a step too far for
Was a
me.
step. Yeah.
well, someone does refer to him in A New Hope as like Tark is like the Emperor's dog or something like that.
Yeah, and that guy gets choked out.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Well, this guy wasn't there to see it, so.
well, yeah,
But
that
yeah, I mean, like it's kind of just disappointing that we end the book with that hit Grammel pretty much just not existing anymore in favor of having Darth Vader show up for
Mm,
20, 30 pages.
yeah.
But not really doing anything.
he
Yeah.
needs
There
to be
was
there
a
because
duel. There were
Well, he
2
needs to
duels.
sell the book, you know. That's all. That's why he's there.
That is 100% why he was there.
yes,
And he couldn't catch them, which is why he didn't catch them.
I do wonder if Foster didn't want Vader in the book at all, which is why he's barely in there. And if he wanted like an actual showdown with Grammel or something, and then Lucas said, "No, you got to put Vader in here."
at the time though, Vader would have been like one of the more unique aspects of Star Wars.
Yeah, but they didn't write him very
Oh
well.
no, he's again he's a chump and doesn't do
A
anything.
chump who's waxing poetic.
Yes,
Yes. And
Like, what are
repeats
you-
himself.
Yeah, and just is not menacing.
Vader doesn't have time to repeat himself. He doesn't say, no, no.
How do we feel about Halal? Is that
Holla.
Hala.
Hala? Hala.
I kept picturing her as like the mechanic from Mandalorian, like the mechanic woman. I liked her for what she was.
Yeah.
She was very convenient.
Of
Yeah,
course.
Extremely convenient.
she can operate all kinds of machinery.
And is also force sensitive.
that's right. To Jingle's point, she's about like movies and producing and stuff. It feels like she's filling her and Gremmel are filling a role that if this were like a screenplay, I could see the type of role that they would play in a movie plot in particular, and that's what that feels like. But I think she's fine otherwise.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like we got like some tastes of Yoda in there, like telling him how he's not thinking big enough about what he's trying to lift and things.
Mm.
I mean, I definitely think she's one of the top 2 characters in the book.
Oh yeah,
Especially top 2 new characters.
she actually has an arc. She has her
Yeah.
obsession.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
That's true.
She's an actual character in the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's actually look, as far as characters in this book go, she's fairly well written.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
And it's probably because she
far-
doesn't exist in other things, and he got more control over
Yeah.
what this character is like.
she did give me one of the few moments where I genuinely laughed out loud at what was written in the book. Like what was when Luke is facing off against the
Oh yeah.
Koei.
It's a W. Koei.
Koei. Yeah, when they're facing off against the Koei and she tells him to just start swearing at them. I thought
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
I actually laughed at that. Yeah.
She's the only actual worldly character that we get in this book other than, Grandma.
Mhm.
I also like the another line in like around that scene where Luke is like, I don't want to eat at this feast, I want to leave. And she's like, well, if we don't want to do that, we can we will insult them, but we're also gonna insult Kanu, the god, again. So if we want to refuse this, we can pick a champion, blah 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 blah, doing the same thing again. And Luke is like, suddenly I'm hungry.
Yes.
She's more of a diplomat than Leia in that
Yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I found
Yeah.
that line just very kind of funny. Even though it didn't really seem like Luke, it was still kind of funny.
Mhm. We do get quite a few pages about the different creatures that are on this world.
Mhm.
A
Um,
little bit. A little bit.
well, there was the worm, there was, like, whatever the natives are,
The Wandrella
the Wandrella.
What a name.
The amoeba thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, the in the water.
that's immune to lightsabers.
Right.
I will say that for as much as a lot of this doesn't feel like Star Wars, the crew escaping the Imperial camp and running away from the Wandrella did feel a bit Star Wars
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it did.
Oh
in
yeah.
terms of a creature empire chase sequence with some wacky element.
I do think it kind of did the transitions pretty well because in my mind I'm picturing like the machine moving and like a black screen coming behind it and then it filling again in where it's like a few days later. That felt very like Star Wars new scene transition.
Oh,
Yes,
I see
Yes.
what you
the,
mean.
the screen wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, that okay, that's Star Wars. Especially Clone Wars.
That's actually, now that you mention it, that was one thing I found kind of interesting. I didn't really pay attention too closely to it at the beginning of the book, but mid book, I was like, they've actually spent a lot of time on this planet. They've been
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
quite a
Days,
while.
weeks.
Because
Mhm.
didn't they spend like 2 weeks out in the wilderness before they even found one of the colonies? And then,
Was it that long?
Was
I
It's
don't
at
know.
I
least
thought it
like
was less than that.
I thought it was
That
like a
was like a
week.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but still, that's a long time.
Yeah, and then we're in that vehicle for, like, what, 10 days or something?
Oh yeah, they are in the vehicle for a while.
The tank thing.
And then we're in it again for like another 6 days going to the temple.
Yeah, 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 the
That's
travel
like a
time.
month. Like at least a
Yeah, see,
month then.
we didn't get any, hyperdrive, whatever, lightspeed travel.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Leia was at the start of this book being like, I can't be late.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Leia. I think you're going to be just a little behind schedule.
I think more time passed in this book than did in Empire Strikes Back, New Hope.
and a New Hope for sure. New Hope takes place over
Yeah.
like it's like a
It's like a
week.
week.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Empire is also a week. There is years between New Hope and Empire, but Return is also like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just kind of like appreciative, like, oh, we're actually going across an entire planet. This isn't
Yeah.
this isn't just the one localized area that seems to have all the
Mhm.
action.
In a
Which
walker,
was kind of cool.
ostensibly.
I thought it was like giant balloon wheels or something.
Yeah, I thought it was more like a skiff of some kind.
It
Like
could
they were
Yeah.
be.
going.
Near like the last third of the book, I was just kind of phasing out.
You're like, "Let me get this done."
I have to record today. Let me finish this book.
Get through it.
I started this book yesterday. Let me.
I mean, yes, thank goodness it is short.
Yeah, I think you're
I,
totally justified in thinking you could have gotten through it in a day. I didn't, but I needed breaks because I was just like, this is
Same.
just kind of boring
My
me.
version of the ebook
Really?
was literally 2/3 this story and 1/3 the start of the
yes.
Thrawn trilogy.
Mhm.
Is it
Oh, wait,
Wow.
really?
really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was mine
That's
too.
so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh,
I
wow.
got actually I got my version from Google, so it just kind of goes straight into author notes.
Oh wow.
I got a physical copy.
No, like I
Yeah.
was expecting I because we reached the Vader fight, and my Kindle said like what Kip said earlier, like 60%, and I'm like, oh, so they're gonna get off the planet, and then we're gonna go have the meeting with the rebel cell on whatever that planet was, and then it kind of cuts off and goes into Heir to the Empire. I'm like, wait, it's it's
This book
over?
is like, hey,
Yeah.
did you hate this book? Check out this book that is so much better.
See, I had a very different experience because Darth Vader shows up when I have about 4 pages left.
Oh my god.
And
Wait, really?
That's crazy.
yeah, it's just like,
Wow.
this seems there seems like there should be a lot left, but there's not. And then he
Huh.
throws himself into a pit, and then we're like, okay,
With
we're
his
fine.
blue
We
lightsaber
caught up.
and
Yeah.
him throwing balls of electricity or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not. That was there are a few moments in this, and especially like the latter half of the book, where I'm kind of not really paying attention, and then I see something and I go, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Also, apparently the Kyber crystal is just an Ungreal from the Wheel of Time.
It
Yeah.
is.
100% is. With this Kyber crystal, you could control the galaxy.
Or heal somebody,
Yeah, or Force Heal.
which isn't a thing, but is
Until it was.
I did like the Usems, the
Oh yeah.
I was
Wookiee
calling them Yuzums.
Yeah,
Yesem.
Wookiee stands in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
off-brand
they were fun.
Chewbacca's, yeah.
They were a
Hin
fun
and
duo.
Key.
Yeah, they were
Hinky.
fun.
Hinky
That's what
was.
That's all I
Oh,
kept
no.
I kept reading was Hinky.
I know. Same.
The Christmas poo.
I want to touch on the lightsaber functionality that Luke's
That was kind of cool. Yeah.
the lightsaber needed
Oh, yes!
recharging.
It needed charging, but also you can adjust the thickness or length of the blade.
Both,
Yes.
yeah. Which is incredibly useful.
Yeah.
And is a
Yeah.
thing that really authors shouldn't be allowed to just randomly introduce that into the book
Yeah.
because it completely changes the ways that lightsabers
Uh-huh.
work, and it makes them way too easy to get out of situations with.
Yes.
And also, if you can just make them longer,
Yeah.
just make them like 6 meters long.
Mhm.
Whee!
But apparently you can't use the force to pull them back. That's not allowed.
Oh, well,
Yeah. Well, Luke is just bad at levitation.
So is Vader apparently, because why was he
Agreed.
running for
Yep.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vader, so
I-
strong in the Force, but must run for his lightsaber.
I know. I was
Yeah.
expecting him to just
Oh,
be able to pull it back.
Well, so I guess the force only works in pushing, I guess, not.
And so suspending that meal tray,
Right.
maybe Vader needs to center himself and engage in meditation in order to levitate objects.
You know, they really didn't understand the Force.
He's just
That-
got to learn how to burn iron, and then he'll be able to do it.
Uh-huh.
Now he needs to take a break, sit down, calm his mind.
Mhm.
And then you just can't do that in the middle of a fight. No using the Force in the middle of a fight
Yeah.
like that, of course.
Vader
That's
also
the focus.
also known for his mindfulness and
Yeah.
Can
Not
you
really
imagine one of
Yeah.
those like calm episodes with Darth Vader? Oh my goodness.
I do have a quote that I would love to share out of context, if I may. It may not be super appropriate out of context.
I'm not editing.
Just do it.
Yeah, just go for it.
Okay, so this is a real quote from the book for people who haven't read it or who missed it. After the fight with the amoeba thing in the water, Leia says, "You did it, Luke. You beat it off." Luke responds, "I'm not so sure." He panted, feeling anything but victorious. Maybe the thing got tired and went away.
Ugh.
So bad.
Ugh.
I love it.
You think he
Gold.
knew what he was writing when he wrote
Maybe.
it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like with
Here's my favorite
Because-
Luke quote. Besides, it takes many thousands of years of advanced technological development for society to reduce honor to an abstract moral truism devoid of real meaning.
I think I
Wow,
glazed
philosopher
over that.
Luke out here.
This 17-year-old farm boy.
right. Not only is he in anthropologist and archaeologist. He's also a very studied philosopher.
And
Yes.
linguist.
As a
And
linguist.
James Farm Boy.
What a talented
If he
young
wasn't
fella.
beating the Mary Sue allegations before, I don't think he is in this book.
No. Interacting with the rebellion has made him 100 times more intelligent.
But he refused a commission because without a commission, he won't be as much of a target.
Uh-huh.
Also, how can he
No.
swim but not Leia?
That's a good
That's a great
question.
question.
He was born on
Yes,
A
sand.
lot of pools on Tatooine.
Right. Leia, who is a princess and grew up with whatever means and access to stuff on Alderaan.
Maybe Luke was practicing in that oil bath that he had the droids go into.
Oh.
Oh.
Luke in the lubricant bath.
I just picture
Okay.
it's not a very big pool. I just picture him like
Right, it's just- right, like it's
spluttering around like a dog. Okay, we're getting out of control. Okay, do we want to talk about what we're reading next for people
It's
as kind
the
of like a
Corellian
Corellian
trilogy?
Corellian?
Are we doing it? Are we doing it?
Yeah,
think
that
we're
was the
doing it.
plan.
Is that better
Awesome.
than this?
Oh, it's so
I'm
much
ready.
better than this.
I'm
I mean,
ready
I
to
thought
keep
we
that
established.
whiplash.
Yeah, we established this was the lowest of the low.
Look, I don't want to get my hopes up about the Corellian Crisis Saga.
What is the first book?
The first book is Ambush at Corellia
Okay.
Okay.
by Roger McBride Allen.
Okay.
And I never know what to call this trilogy, but apparently it's just called the Corellian Trilogy.
and he did all of them, it looks like.
Yes, he did Assault at Salonia and then Showdown at Center Point. And it has many aspects that make Star Wars books Kip's favorite.
Oh, spaceship.
Apparently it has lovable characters. So
I think it does because
I look forward to that.
this series takes place after Han and Leia get married and have kids.
Aww.
Oh.
Go.
Jace.
Okay.
Jace?
Jason and Jaina are the twins,
Jason and Jaina, that's
and
right.
little Anakin.
So this is after Thrawn.
Yep.
So we're deep into the EU at this point.
Wait, Anakin? But this was published before.
This
Was
was published in '95.
Yeah, Anakin was an established name by that point.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know from where, but sweet.
Wait, but did they name him after?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're redeeming the name.
Okay.
I would like to say, kind of going back to the book a little bit, I have been a big avoider of Star Wars books that include basically the Skywalker crew from the original series. Whereas, like, I'm tired of these people. I want new characters. Going from reading the Thrawn trilogy to this makes me go, you know what? Maybe they're not too bad if this is as terrible as they're gonna be. I could read more from them. Just to
Yeah.
get the taste of this out of my mouth.
Wow.
So if the book did anything, it made me more open-minded.
That's good.
Unfortunately, anything post Return of the Jedi is pretty Skywalker focused. I think you have some
A lot of
dabbling
it
in
is.
here and there, but the majority of it is, yeah.
Although, hey,
I
we're,
mean,
We get the Wedge series, I think, right?
you
isn't
get
Rogue-
iJedi.
Isn't
Yeah.
the X-wing series isn't is the X-wing series?
X-Wing
the
is
Wedge
not
series?
Skywalker's. That's the
Yeah.
Wedge series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. I don't know if it's after or during.
I think it depends on which book you're reading. They
Yep.
do some jumping. But anyway, all right, guys, I think we're gonna call it here. I think we picked every bit of meat we could off of this bone. It was a little chaotic, but I had a lot of fun, and I do really love these chats that we get to have about Star Wars every once in a while. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And we didn't even mention the alcoholic natives.
No, we did not.
I don't want to touch that
Until
one.
now.
I'm good. I don't want to touch that one.
I don't either.
Take
So
us out, Jingles.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. So you can or you should rather join us on Discord, where we have crazier conversations than this sometimes. They're a ton of fun. Please do that. We are also right now we are on YouTube, right? So if you like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We really appreciate it. thank you to Craig for lending us a little bit of his empire, and to Horizon Brave for starting the green team. Our intro and outro music is Galactic Damages by Jingle Punks. And may the force be with you.
May the fourth
Bye.
be with you.
May the fourth be with you.
Da-da-da-da.
I
Start.
woo.
Hello.
Testing.
Hello,
Hey.
testing.
Right.
All
Cool.
right.
Right.
We're all
Push
set.
stop.
And make sure
Oh,
every
this,
single person
I will
actually
save
did
it.
it.
I will
And
save it.
save it.
I will save it.
you all got it? You will save it. Okay.
Save it.
I feel like this is all directed at one very specific person. Spook.
I always save and
Wow.
upload to Dropbox. Always.
I am not
Yes.
the only person who didn't save Veiled Throne. Wombat
That is
couldn't
true.
because he was using his phone.
No, on his computer. No? Okay, never mind. Whatever. The past is the past. Onward.
All right.
Yeah. Onward.
The
May the
past
fourth.
is in the past.